I was going to loop that again. I get so excited sometimes because of technology. But hey, how you doing, Mr. Gassert from Peachtree Corners?
Oh yeah, very good, very good. And there was a thing yesterday, a kind of a big event that everybody watches, and it's called the Super Bowl, and my team won, so it was kind of neat. 1965. That was my very first football game, Franklin Field, Philadelphia Eagles. So, yeah, I remember it all too well. I won't tell you what tickets cost back then, and that's regular season, but much less a Super Bowl or championship game. I mean, I don't even know what Super Bowl tickets. You could probably spend anywhere from 25 to 5,000, to whatever. Who knows? Who knows what you're spending? That's just for a person.
Yeah, I'm a big time original ticket holder with the Oakland Raiders when they joined
Wow.
the NFL. Yeah, so got to see some of those players, great players, be able to walk on the field. They used to play before they went to created the Oakland Coliseum. They used to play at a junior college field called she just went blank on me, but Frank Hewell Field.
Okay.
And after the game, we'd walk down and walk right along Darryl LaMonica and you name it, and Jim Otto and
Oh yeah.
They would talk to you and shake their hands. I was playing football myself, and I was big as Jim Otto. He was only about 190 pounds. I was bigger than him, and he's playing professional football. I'm going, hallelujah, I think that's what I want to do. But never made it there. I got injured, and that was the end of my career. So, but anyway, yeah, football's come a long ways. I think we paid $6 or $7 for a ticket.
Right.
And even when I had my season tickets, I think the bundle came out to about $25 or $30 a ticket for 4 tickets for all the home games. So that was cool.
Cool. Very cool.
And then used to go party at the Flanker, Fred Biletnikoff's bar down from the Oakland Coliseum as you're going to the airport.
Right.
And go in. Those guys would just come in after the game, smoking their cigarettes and cigars and ordering people beers and stuff. They don't do that stuff nowadays. It was really cool. Really cool.
Well, not that we see. Maybe they still do, Tom. I don't know. No.
That depends what they smoke nowadays.
Yeah. Oh, we're digressing because you're mentioning names that half the planet probably is like, who are these guys talking about? Franklin Field. Where's that? Now, if you're from Philadelphia.
Frank Hewell Field.
Yeah. But I'm talking about in Pennsylvania, it's called Franklin Field.
Oh, okay.
That's where the Eagles used to play back in the ancient days. Yeah, football's very sophisticated now. It's entertainment, it's marketing, it's, and we saw the commercials. It's everything. You get a little bit of everything in there. Business, religion, education. I mean, you name it, it's there.
Yeah. Well, we got 2 people anxious to come on here. I'm going to let you introduce our 2 guests today.
Okay.
We're just going to have sort of a round robin. These are 2 wonderful guys in business, great wisdom and knowledge, and very successful in what they do. And hopefully today that they'll share something that somebody grasps and take and put to work in their lives. That's what Elevate Your Profits is helping everyone from the mindset to the bank account. And we've had numerous people on and interviewed over the last 3.5, 4 years. And so I'm going to turn it over to you, Mark, and you can introduce our guest.
Sure. I'll start with guest number 1. Eric Bam was actually my very first. There he is. There's the guy.
That was quick.
My very first person that I actually live stream with, and I don't even want to say how long ago. That might have been like maybe close to 4 years ago or something.
Yeah, I think so.
Close, right? And that's when we were all doing this thing. And this gentleman's background, I call him Mr. Pizza, but he's into liners, he's into marketing. He also puts out a very positive message. You can catch it on Instagram. I caught one last week. Sorry, I'm not catching up on everybody's input, output. Some of us work, and we're on the phone and got to do things, make calls, talk to people, live stream with customers as well. meetings like Randy was talking about earlier. And Eric is quite an influencer. So you need to check out what he brings to the table. He talks about a lot of different things. He talks about business. He talks about success. He talks about mindset. At the risk of being, don't get mad at me, Facebook. He'll even incorporate some religious tutelage there that you can find in a book called the Bible, amongst other things. And it's good stuff and things that we all need to hear about life and what we're doing out there as men. And then Randy's got this thing called, Building Wins. Hey, Randy, when I hooked up with Randy, yeah, he's over there. That's right. At the MetalCon, the Congress Center, Georgia
Yes.
World Congress Center.
Yes,
And,
we did, and we even messed up trying to get a picture took.
yeah, that was cool.
we're trying to get somebody to take our picture, and we're standing right in front of a camera where they actually took your picture. But
I got my iPhone out, and they had this big schism of a picture frame, and the lady says, "Is that what you're trying to do? Just stand there. You don't need to do all that. It does it itself." So it was kind of cool, and we did a serious shot or two. Then we did a crazy, and and Randy has a good program out there called Building Wins. And I believe you have it. Is it Monday? Every Monday you do it during the day, or
we drop it on. Well, we rack and stack, but we drop them on Fridays,
Fridays?
the blog, and then we do the podcast on Mondays.
Right.
So yeah.
And you always have a good guest, and it's someone within your industry, and sometimes not within your industry. And you two, both you guys talk about mindset. And I know I sent you some questions in advance. I forgot to send it to Tom, but this will be cool. But I do want to know. I do want to know how you guys start your day. Like how do you start your day? Because we always say we're going to show up as our best selves. So I'll start with you, Eric. What do you do to get your as I say, your mind right to start out your day?
I call Randy.
Oh, cool.
We do.
Call Randy. Yeah, it's an interesting question. For me, obviously you get up, we've all got our routine, get in the shower. But I think for me, one of the first things I'm doing is I'm posting something on social media, something positive, a quote, something almost every single day. And, people sometimes say, oh, you're so positive, you're so uplifting. And that's about 70% of the time. The other 30% of the time, I'm posting something that will get me motivated a little bit or get me fired up a little bit. Because on the days I don't have it, if I choose to post, I'm not feeling it today. Well, guess what? All the negative people will come out and say, I'm not either, me neither. But misery loves company, but so does positivity. So if I post something positive and then I get some comments from Randy or from you guys or from other people that says, hey, I love this, then it pulls me up a little bit. So that's kind of how I start my day almost every single day. I love, I'm gonna get up and get in the shower every day, regardless of what I got going on, what's going on. Get up, get in the shower, get dressed. It's like a portal to the day. Let's rock and roll. But then I call Randy.
Oh, cool.
And I always answer.
Yeah.
But you call early at times because you're on Central Time.
Hopefully
so
you don't call them in the shower, right? You're not calling them in.
No, we don't do that.
Okay.
Well,
all right.
We have lines. They're far apart, but we have lines.
Good deal. Well, Randy, how about you? What do you do now?
A lot of what Eric says, but and this is something that speaks to something Eric talks about a lot, which I love is I try to remind myself every morning I wake up is, damn, I'm grateful to just get another day and get up and go do what I love. Because something that I really, what are you grateful for today, man? We have to remind ourselves of that because I really do love what I do and do what I love. I say that a lot. I never end a show. I never end almost anything that I don't say that. And it's not just a statement that sounds cool. It's what I live and what I believe. But then I get my coffee, do the shower thing. I always, like Eric, I always have at least one Building Wins post every morning that Wes, my producer director, and you guys all know Wes, already has up by the time I get up because he puts it for, he times it to go up. So I always share that, make a comment or two, look at other posts quick, comment, Eric has something, whoever has something in and out of the industry. And I really, as Bam just said, I want to get myself into the winning mindset early. And I'm going to back up from that for a second, because I know this is something that Eric does too, and I know you guys do. Is this morning started last night. I'm working on tomorrow morning tonight yet, right? I'm going to look at my calendar. I'm going to remember what I have. Is there something I need to do? Am I prepared? Is there something I got to make sure I'm ready for? So when I wake up in the morning, I don't want to get up and go, yawning and drinking my coffee and scratching my head and going, I wonder what I'm going to do today. I want that planned and be ready to hit the ground. And lastly, I really try to have a customer friend, whether it's check on an order, follow up on a sample, just say, hey, how are you? First thing in the morning as early as possible, because I want to start the day off with my customer friends that I live for and just get that positive win, right, Eric? And I know you do the same thing all the time.
I love that. Maybe not to run too much down this rabbit hole because you have like 5-6 questions, but I love that from the standpoint of what Randy said about getting up and engaging with a customer or prospect. And I did this 2 weeks ago. For the prior 2 weeks, every day, Monday through Friday, the first person I called, FaceTimed, whatever, I would screenshot it and post it. And I'd post it on Facebook and say, man, I got up and first call of the day was with Carmine Testa, world pizza champion, and tagged him in it. And you know what? People love being validated. And people love being seen, and so I think it kind of gets you going, like, all right, let's, and then it builds a little bit of FOMO with some of your customers, like, well, call me first tomorrow, and it makes it kind of fun, the little things that we can do to make things a little fun. But this makes for fun every morning.
Hey, Ruby Doo.
Ruby wants
Who's
to get
that? Hi, sweetheart. Who's that?
Hi.
This is my daughter Ruby. She'll be 6 next month. So we're planning a birthday party. We've been planning that for about 6 months. So
wish you a happy birthday.
Yeah, we're going to Incredible Pizza. So
why would we guess that? A pizza, right?
Well, right. Should treat the acorn doesn't fall far from the tree. Get out of here. Get out of here. All right. Sorry about that, fellas.
That's perfectly fine. No big deal.
If you're gonna stay, you can be quiet. Sorry.
That's good.
It's perfect. Beautiful. Mark Gassert's got something new happening in his life. He's
I do.
Grandfather the first time.
I don't broadcast it. I haven't posted pictures. There's pro and con. It's a baby. My son and his wife, obviously, they added to our planet here, and it was a little girl, 7 pounds, 7.2 ounces, and awesome. Her name is her Greek name is Eviania, but they call her Evie. Middle name is Kay. Obviously, the last name's Gassard, and kind of cool. And
that's
awesome. Got to
awesome.
meet her, and they've sent us some more pictures. So and it's wild to see them when they're first born, and after they get home and you see them, and like in a week they start evolving, man. There's changes, and the eyes are kind of my color, so they say. And she did open up her eyes when I was holding her. It was kind of wild. You look at this little person and you go, wow, this is how we all started. And and I'm very thankful. You mention that all the time about being grateful and gratitude. A lot of times we don't look back, but I'm grateful that I had the parents I had that enabled me to do the things that I do and did as a kid, like just camping trips. I got to go to Algonquin State Park in Canada. Now that might not seem like a big deal, but back in the day it was. And that was during those 60s. And you would get to see all sorts of fun stuff out there, bear, elk, amongst other things. When you see a bear and you're in a tent, it's like, okay, so what's going to happen here? Oh, don't worry about it. And I told this story last week with Tom, and I'll just share it again. You talk about memories and how people engaged with one another. We didn't have these crazy things. I remember that park ranger, Emmett Chartrand, and my dad kind of formed a bond, and they were out there at the campfire. They must have been talking for about 2 hours. And what was really cool is he made me and my brother an oar out of wood. I mean, he chopped down pine. There was a chopped down pine tree, and he carved out some wood. And then the next thing you know, he had this long blade, and he was explaining what he was doing, and he signed it for us too. He put his John Henry. It's funny how I remember that. You'd never think Emmett Chartron was the park ranger's name, and I'll never forget him. And he said, "What would you do if you're in a canoe or a boat and you lose your oar?" Well, here's what you do. You go into the bush and you get a tree. And I was just like, holy cow, how does this guy know how to do this? He said, you learn how to do it or you won't survive out here.
Yeah.
But, I think today, what I wanted to ask you guys most of all, I know, Tom, we've talked about it, AI. There's a big clamor for AI. I think it's great. I'm not against it. But what do you think about that point click and secure an outcome mentality that there are some that are out there where they don't want to talk with people? So tell me, what do you guys think about that?
Go ahead, Randy.
Let's go. Yeah.
Well,
I'll go. You go there. Yeah, Randy.
Okay. So, I probably would have told you 6 months ago, 8 months ago, that was the dumbest thing ever. It's scary. I want nothing to do with it. But
Right.
then again, I'd have told you 4 years ago that I'd never be a podcast host or guest on podcast or do a lot of the other stuff that we do. Literally 3 minutes. Yeah, I mean, what did you guys reach out like it early today and say, hey, you guys want to jump on tonight live? Boom,
Right.
yes, right? So
4 years ago, you would have probably said, man, are you nuts? I ain't doing it.
I ain't doing that. I'm not getting on live. Are you kidding me? But now, but once I got into it, here's the thing. It's like I talk about, and Eric and I talk about this a lot together and with whoever will listen it's like social media. You don't have to like it, but it ain't going away, right? And so you better get used to it and you better learn to use it. AI is not going away. It's going to continue. I use it more than you'd think, but less than a lot.
Right.
I use it for, I'm a little old school enough that I don't write blogs with it, like a whole blog. I don't write articles that I do for some magazines that I write, because I feel like this is old school, I guess, but and I truly see it as an honor if you pick up in my industry a magazine article and read what Randy Chaffee says. I feel like I owe you to read what Randy Chaffee thinks, right? But I also will use it to fix things that I just can't figure out exactly what I meant to say. I want to make it a little better, or I can't come up with an idea and say, hey, give me 20 things to write an article about. Boom, I like that one. I'm going to do that. That's where I use it for. But I'll tell you, and the last thing, there you go, because I'm talking too much, but a warning. It's like I said, I talk the way I talk. It ain't going away. And it's kind of like math. You can't wait until you're a high school senior to start taking advanced calculus if you didn't take all the other courses. You better get on it now. You better learn it, and you better get involved, because one of these days you're going to just find yourself forced to do it.
Right.
And Eric, do you agree it goes so fast that you're going to have none of that elementary school, let alone junior high or high school behind you? Make sense?
Yeah. I think, when we talk AI and Chat GPT, we lump them into the same thing, but they're vastly different, right? AI, from my standpoint, I think in the sale, we're all in the sales world. And I think in the sales world, average to below average salespeople are scared to death of AI. High performing salespeople are not. They look at it as a tool, and it's something that can help me be better. And AI is not going. It may at some point, but in the short term, it's not going to be the thing that comes up with the ideas. It's not going to be Randy bringing donuts. It's not going to be me posting the first video in the morning of who I talk to. It's not there yet, right? But then Chat GPT, which Randy, you were just referring to, is a different animal. And back to the average to below average salesperson, you can look at Chat GPT and you can say, write me a marketing blah 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 for whatever product. But
Right.
then you've got to be able to take Chat GPT and take what's posted, and then you've got to be able to reform it and make it a little better and make it tighter and make what you type in a little tighter to get the really dial down what you want. They're very different things.
Mhm.
And I use Chat GPT. We'll do like a email or a campaign, and I'll throw it into ChatGPT and say, hey, can you make this better? And it'll kick stuff out. It'll give you can use it to your advantage.
Right.
And I will tell you, I think you look back on school, right? You look back at college, high school, elementary school, and it's about learning, right? And it's about learning things, and it's about learning math, Randy, like you said. But now we all walk around with a calculator in our hands every day, right? We all have Chat GPT. I think it's not necessarily about I know what 2 + 2 is, which is what?
4.
Thank you.
No,
It's about
that's why you have Ruby there, correct?
That's right. That's
Keep
right.
them straight, Ruby.
I know what 100 + 100 is. 200.
What is it?
That's awesome. Yeah.
This is Ruby GPT right here.
Yeah.
But
Great.
but I think it's about learning how to problem solve. And
Right.
those two things allow you to be better and problem solve and be better. I read an article yesterday, this guy, and I can't remember his name, but he's apparently he's the thought leader on what's coming in the future. And this guy thinks we will come into a golden age of being humans in 2035, that
cool.
AI will develop that fast that within the next 10 years, you won't type into Google like, hey, what's this or what's that? You will think it and it will come to you. And that's crazy when you think about just that world. It's absolutely crazy. I believe that we interact more with AI than we realize we do.
We do.
It's out there. It's on phone calls. It's in things we interact with. It's chat bots on Walmart.com. It's out there more than we ever realize, and it's becoming more and more prevalent every day. But it'll never take away stuff like we're doing right now. It can't. It can't take this away. And to Randy's point, we're all seasoned veterans, right, in life, and if this is coming. And you better embrace it, and you better at least have an understanding. Because if one day somebody says, "Oh, Chat GPT," and you don't even know how to get to that, that's going to be a miss.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I use the Grammarly, which if I do an email or writing anything, any content, and it will correct my spelling, put the punctuation in. I'm really grateful for that. And then I use any word where if I want to create something for my marketing or email, I'll create the original text and I'll put it in. It'll enhance it and give me a different twist on it. I can put different emotions in it and that type of thing. But I still want to rely on my thinking and just have somebody correct my poor grammar.
So we have 3 or 4 of hers in the house through Amazon, right? And there's one sitting right here in my office, and they're getting ready to roll out by the end of the month an AI version of this. It's paid, but instead of having to say her name with each interaction, it's AI generated, and it will carry on a conversation. That's coming.
It's amazing.
Coming.
And it's so interactive anymore. Even with Chat GTP, for example, I found I read it somewhere. I don't even remember who wrote it, or I heard it or whatever, but I started doing it, and silly as it sounds, I think it makes sense. But when I have Chat GTP do something for me, like if I finish up a blog, now I'll still Randyize it, and then I ask it to produce a picture based on what I just wrote about. Now, the picture will come back and it's like, I change this because I don't quite like that, modernize this to whatever. But what I've learned to do is to literally chat with Chat GTP, and I thank it. I tell it that's perfect. That's exactly what I was looking for, because I don't know how accurate this is, but it makes sense to me that every time you congratulate it on doing well for you, it's learning you, right? It's learning that was good. Or I equally say, no, that is not at all what I wanted. Don't like it. I've learned, and as weird as that sounds to be talking or typing to some I don't even, someplace on Mars, I guess. I don't know wherever these goofy people live. It is an oddity to do, but I think that does work, because I noticed that over time when I ask it to do something, like I've got better at telling it to use my own unique voice, using everything you know about me, things like that. Another one is great for whatever it's worth is, it doesn't always do it, because one thing with Chat GTP especially is it's got certain AI phrases that they just love to use no matter what you do.
Yeah.
I still tell it I say, please avoid all notorious AI phrases. Now, it still gives me some stupid thing, but I think it makes it better. I really do, because if you don't, and so I've learned, and I need to become better at being a better prompter, because that's what it's all about. It's the garbage in, garbage out that we used to learn in the early days, right? You're only going to get out of it what you tell it you want, right?
Yeah, that's a great point. One of telling it like, I want this. So you guys know I wrote this book. Well, my other book that I wrote, which is 52 Ways to Show Your Wife You Love Her, right? Which, by the way, is selling really well right now for Valentine's Day. I literally wrote that book in a matter of 3-4 days. Okay. And what I did was I came up with the 52 things that I try to practice with my wife, and I fail at showing my wife how much I love her all the time. But I went ahead and wrote down the 52 ideas. I had them all typed up, and with some of them I had just like, date night, and I had, some things like that. But then I had some that had a little more, like I had some examples of things like I did, and I wrote them out, and I put all of it into Chat GPT, and I said, give me a 4-sentence paragraph about every one of these, and kicked them all out. And then I kicked it back, and within 3-4 days, book was written and done.
Awesome.
And
that's what I do. I do what you guys are talking about. I'll do it in an outline format based on this information. Okay, can you write me a paragraph? And it's kind of cool to see. I'll write a paragraph, and I want to see what it'll tell me. And then sometimes I'll put my paragraph and say, okay, improve this now, from me originally, and say, now improve this. And
I love what Tim Lord just posted.
Yeah.
Prompt writing is an art.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Randy's talking about. And so it's true. Telling it and pushing it in the right direction is, it's an art. It is
huge. And I over the weekend, the last 3 days, when I go through Instagram or TikTok or whatever, there's always these people that are quote experts, right? But I do see some things.
I don't know what those are anymore.
I know. But I'll copy and paste, or I'll screenshot them and save those in a file, because I want to keep learning how to be a better prompter, because I'm probably way, way far from where I need to be yet. And it's amazing when I put something in, and I keep asking it to do things like make it more conversational, humanize it. You're not using my voice. You start giving it those things, but you'll save even more time if you tell it that up front the first time, right? And it's amazing. And I'm such a novice in it. Probably all of us right here are like we're not even kindergarten in it yet.
No.
But yet we're probably way ahead of probably 80% of the people that are still going, oh my God, I can't, that scares me. I don't want to touch that. So I just, like I said, if anybody listening, man, just, you better do it. You better learn.
Randy, that makes me think back to like when COVID hit and we were trying to figure out like, what are we going to do and how are we going to get to our customers, and how, and here's this mountain of what does this look like? And we were out just trying, we were doing things, right? We were just here, just open the fire hose and let's take a drink. Whereas other people that we knew were waiting to be told by, nothing against like Jeb Blunt or Gittimer or whatever, but other people were waiting to be told, well, here's what you should do. And we were so far up the mountain already because we just didn't wait. And I think to that point with Chat GPT, and AI, you better embrace it, because It's coming. It's here.
It is. It is. And a key to what you just said, Eric, that I love is the fact that just there's sometimes we get too wrapped up in I don't want to screw up, I don't want to make a mistake. Make mistakes.
Yes.
I love mistakes. I love screwing up, right? Because if we screw up, then we're trying something more. You massage it, you fix it, you know what doesn't work. Sometimes and this is an age-old thing, but you learn way more from stuff that screws up than you do what works. Because if it works, it's easy. But if it screws up, you're going, oh crap, I'm never doing that again. And
Randy, you bring up something I love. You talk about like failing, right? And I talk about fail forward, right?
Mhm.
You want to fail and get better from it. If you fail and you're in the same spot, well, that's dumb. And if you fail and you go backwards, well, that's dumb. I mean, Randy, you're a seasoned veteran now in your field, but you still probably fail a lot, don't you?
Oh, every day.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't look at it this way.
I never fail.
Oh, Mark doesn't, but I look at it this way. And I'm not always brutally honest with myself. I try to be, but if I didn't fail at something today, if I'm honest with myself, I go, you didn't try enough today, dude. You got to do better tomorrow, right? Because and it's because we don't want to admit failure. We don't want to embrace failure. But I think anybody that's honest with themselves. I mean, a good example, because we're talking kind of broadcasting, that's what we're doing. Forget which side of the aisle anybody falls on. One of the greatest successes in our recent history was Rush Limbaugh, rest in peace, right? He failed and failed and failed and failed and failed and got fired and failed and got fired. And he became look at what he became at the end, because he kept fixing and massaging and fixing upon his failures, right? And and to go the other side, so nobody says I fall on one side or the other. Oprah Winfrey was the same way.
Right.
She kept failing and failing miserably. So, best successes fail.
Tom, he was talking sides. Now, if you're listening, you can figure out what he's talking about. I love the way he put it.
Randy,
if you're a Dem or Republican or a moderate or whatever you are.
Well, Mark said the word. There we go. Now it's gone downhill. Randy, one of the you're talking about failing. I think the biggest thing for us about failing is we're worried about what other people are going to think that we failed, right? And if we lived in a vacuum where nobody knew everything we failed at, right, we would try so many things in this world because we have no fear of judgment, right? And yet we worry about what everyone else thinks about us. And the reality is they're worrying about what you think about them. And so consequently, we're all paralyzed to do nothing.
Exactly.
Right.
If Eric, if they even think about you at all. See, we sometimes think people are thinking more about us than they really are.
They're not thinking about us. That's for sure.
Exactly. They could care less. Yeah. Whatever.
Hey, Randy, I have to ask you something because we're together, and will you tell us all about the shoe thing that you learned in the hotel?
I will. It was amazing. It was, I will, because that old saying, I was this many years old, like today when I learned this.
Yes.
That was one of those moments. I was at a small trade show, and one of our people on our staff, because I'm on the board of directors of this show, and she talked to a flight attendant that she knew, and that what they do when they get to the hotel room at night, because they set their shoes inside the room, but by the door with the toes pointing whichever way the elevator is. So that in the morning when you put your shoes on, because you know how many times, I know we've all done it, especially in big city hotels, your big show, 700 stories tall and 9 million rooms, and you're going, I don't know, it's like 5 miles down that way, 6 miles down that way. I have no freaking idea where the elevator is, right? And I thought, that is so stupidly brilliant.
Yes. That
I do that every time now. That's become my norm now. I've traveled 4 or 5 times, 3 or 4 times since I learned that little trick.
Yeah.
It's so easy. Never thought about it in my life. But then again, it was only like 5 years ago that I figured out that little gas thing with the arrow pointing to your little gas door was actually where your gas door was.
You didn't know that?
It took me a long time to know that.
Wow.
Like 4 years ago, I figured that out. I'm not that smart. That's why I use AI.
I've got a question for all three of you. This is an easy question, easy answer. Mark, we'll start with you first. What are you reading right now, or what have you read recently that's impacted you?
Can I?
You can hold it up. Yeah. What do you got?
I got to keep it going here. It's called Motivation Manifesto. Going back here, I highlight and do crazy things. There is something else. I'm Selling from the Heart. Larry Levine. I'm rereading and highlighting. Selling in a post-trust world. Just trying to get the feel of that. That's a book of his. In fact, I have it right. Here it is. This one, pretty good book.
There you go.
It's good. I mean, it's not. And again, you can say I highlight away and I make notes and I apply try and apply things. I'm like, okay, today, how am I going to approach this customer? Like, I might be dealing with Randy that's very assertive and kind of surly and negative. So how am I going to go after this? Not go after, but converse with them, engage with them. And it's real interesting. And one day I said to him, you know what? It seems like you had a really negative experience with any type of training, not just sales and marketing training. And it got real quiet. And he goes, well, I did. I said, really? Well, tell me about it. And then he did. So after I listened, so I said, like if it was Randy, say, okay, Randy, well, just tell me where we're at right now. I mean, obviously you're not in the discovery stage. We're way past that. So should we just like blow this call up and say, hey, move on, scratch me off your list? I could care less. Mark, you horse's ass, don't you ever call me again? And he laughed. He goes, no. I want you to send me some stuff, because you've been calling me and, I want to see what you guys do. And I'm like, okay, so what does that mean? So what's the next step? Where do we go? And I let him tell me, and I'm trying to adapt to the situation because you guys know when you get on the phone with people, it's tough. You don't get a chance to sit here and talk to people like this if you do it virtually or meet face to face. Like I really enjoyed my meeting with Randy. That's why I like going to trade shows because you actually get a chance to talk to people. Right. And that at MetalCon, that was a fun show because I had an opportunity. I never know who I'm talking to. CEO, president, and a couple of them were. It's just fun to talk to them because you can tell by the way they're talking. I've picked up.
Tom, what do you got? I'm gonna cut you off there, Mark. That's a long answer, man. Tom, what do you got?
I got three things that I'm currently reading at the same time.
All right.
Okay.
A Miracle That Changed the World, the 5,000-Year Leap. It's 29 principles that form the Constitution.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, I belong to a group here in town. I'm also in the American Legion, and we have a Constitution class. So we study and we bring judges in, and they talk a little bit in depth about what the Constitution is. And we recently sponsored two young men, Mark and I, with Rex Sykes the other day, did their speech to give them more of that. The 15-year-old Stephen Bott won the competition this last week. He's going to the next level. He beat his brother, which is 17, and three other great young men. The amount of work and research they put in to deliver a message, it was quite impressed with those young men. And then, of course, I like personal development stuff. Live on Your Own Terms, Rex Sykes. And got another book in relationship, this Chicken Soup. What is it?
For the Soul? Or
Soul for
Chicken
married
Soup
couples.
for dinner?
For couples, yeah.
Chicken Soup for the Soul for couples, yeah.
Yep.
Love it.
So,
Randy, what do you reading?
Right now, there we are. So this book is Peg Buell and I think and Pete McDonald, The Honest Truth About Leadership. And this one, I met these folks a few weeks ago at a small trade show in Ohio. And I met them because I spent some time with them because I was emceeing the show or for the day. And so one of my things was to introduce them, right? So I wanted to get to know them a little bit because I don't, the staff gives you a biography. I don't read, you throw that away. I want to know who you are, and I'm just going to introduce you. And I really enjoyed these people. They're business coaches out of the Columbus, Ohio area. Actually going to have them on Building Wins Live one of these days. We're working on some timing, but really did a great talk about, the honest truth in leadership as opposed to what everybody thinks you ought to do, things they think you ought to say, things that Wharton School of Business tells you ought to say. They get into the real nuts and bolts of it. It's really, so far, it's a really good book. So, like I said, that's what I'm reading right now. Good folks. So yeah, that's what I'm reading now. How about you, Eric? What are you reading?
Well, I'm an audio guy, and I'm listening to Mind Shift by Erwin McManus, and it's absolutely amazing. This is the third time I've ran through it, and just down to earth, like real takes on life, kind of like you're talking about, Randy. Like it's not what you should say and do. It's real talk,
Yes.
which is always, that's what you want to hear, right? And
Exactly.
Lord knows I need to be better every day. You need to be a better husband and a better father and better employee and all that stuff, better friend. And so, that book just hits home big time.
Cool.
So
What
else you got, Mark? I know you got some more questions. So
you talked about being authentic and you talked about being transparent. And I think we touched on something, always worrying what someone's going to think. I used to really struggle with that, but I'm at the point now where I really don't care. And don't take this the wrong way, guys, particularly if you haven't. If I wanted to talk to you guys about business, I would listen to you, or about mindset, I would listen to you. Yeah, there it is. And sometimes, and Randy touched on it, the gurus, some of these people haven't even done whatever, and I just can't really worry about their opinion. You know what I'm saying? Like, regardless of who's in the White House, regardless of who's doing what, if you haven't been there or done that, then it's okay to be critical to an extent, but not to the point where you're malicious and you just want to be disruptive and, scream and shout and go crazy on people. When I see people try at anything new in particular, I applaud it. And, I see kids strike out every now and then up at the plate. And I said, life lesson, you'll get it the next time, particularly older guys. I'm like, hey, you'll get the next one. And that's how you have to be. And I guess that's what I've learned. And there's no substitute for hard work. The older I get, I think I've learned now what my father Wayne was trying to teach me. Because as he used to say, we sit on our brains as men, and as we mature, it kind of moves up to your backside and finally gets up here, and the bulb comes on. And now my older son is a father, and my younger son's pursuing his dream, as Tom knows. He wants to be a coach, football coach, and he had an interview at a college. He already did his grad assistant stuff. And these are all challenges you go through. But I said, man, enjoy the process, because you're young, you're single, nobody's holding you back, man. You got nothing but time. You're 23, just go for it. But that's kind of where I'm coming
55,
from.
I got nothing but time. Let's go.
I know.
I'm just getting started.
Well,
Exactly.
We're young.
Tom's got more. He's got plenty of time. I'm kidding, Tom. But Tom and I talk about this all the time. I mean, indirectly, directly, time, and that's, I guess, my enemy is time now. I don't know if you do this, but you can only goof off for so long, and then I think back like, gee, what did I really do today? If it's the weekend, and it's with the same breath, am I spending time with the right people too when I have that time? Am I doing those things I'm supposed to do? always asking myself, and I guess never satisfied, because we can all do more. I mean, but you also got to keep a good frame about it and say, hey, I screwed up today. Tomorrow's another day, another opportunity. No big deal. I'll get back on track. I'll do what I need to do. So,
Yeah, we're experiencing something that is a
Yep.
great demonstration. We talked about that last time we talked, right, Mark?
right.
100 days and taking action. We got a president right now that's taking it, whether we agree with the political side or whatever, but it's a great demonstration of taking your idea and putting it to work right away. Just boom, 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 taking action. And I think that's an area that we all can improve on. We're limited in our time,
Yep.
but if we lose this 30 minutes now, you can't make it up. If
Right.
you think you can, you're going to get yourself spinning your wheels, bogging yourself down, putting more stuff into the meat grinder. And
Tom, what you just said, taking action without, and everybody touched on this a little bit, taking action. If you believe in what you're doing, taking action and not really giving a rat's behind what anybody's going to say. Because look, you use the current president, again, agree or disagree, but he's taking action, doesn't really care what anybody thinks because he believes, right or wrong, he believes. And I think a lot of times none of these things, good or bad, would be happening if he was waiting to see. You put the tea leaf in the air to see whether everybody's going to say, yeah, I think that's a good idea or that is not. At some point, if you believe, you just got to, go. And you know what?
Yep.
If it fails, it fails. If you don't like it, oh well. I mean, I'm sure I've done something in my life that Eric Bam doesn't like, but he still will buy me pizza when we're together. So, life is okay.
Not true.
And it's okay. You know what? I think that's another point. It's okay to disagree, but there's a way to go about it and learn from each other during the process. You don't have to, and that's over business or any, it's okay. Someone in Eric's business may come to him and say, hey, I got a better idea with a liner. What do you think? Now I know you wouldn't be crazy. You wouldn't be crazy enough to say, "Oh, you're all wet." You don't know what you're talking about. You'd at least listen to that individual. That's my whole point. But so many times we just want to wound. No, man, that's been tried. Forget about it. It's never going to work. And I don't know, because now you see the advent of this technology, and you all touched on it, with ChatGPT, the AI, and what's going on. You don't know what's next, man. I mean, cars that drive themselves. I mean, they claim they have them, but I would be scared to get out here on 285 in Metro Atlanta in rush hour, sitting on the passenger side and going to say, I'm going to program my car and let it drive me home. I'm like, I don't know about that, but just a thought.
Tim Lord,
Fellas, it's 5:50 and I've got to get Big Sister
We need to
a
go.
basketball game for some cheer.
Good.
Last game of the season. So I got to get little sister and get rolling. But I want to tell you, I enjoy watching you guys every Monday. I always try and, when you guys are live, try and jump in and throw a few comments in and stuff, and was not going to miss the opportunity to jump on live with the big guy over here who has a book coming out, by the way.
I heard it.
I've read it, and it's exceptional. And there we go. There we go.
Hybrid. Okay.
Love it. Love it. And you know what? I'm just gonna, for me, before I get out of here, if I might just throw something out. I screw up every single day. I screw up. I screw up as a father, and I screw up as a parent, and I screw up as a husband, and I screw up as a friend. And you know what? But the sun comes up every day for me, and I'm smart enough to know when I've screwed up, and I'm smart enough to apologize, and I'm smart enough to keep learning. I have friends that are 55. We all went to high school with people we see on Facebook where they're the same age, and they're stuck in their ways, and they can't get better, and they can't learn. And man, if I took that attitude, I'm freaking half stupid anyway most of the time. And so if I didn't learn and apologize and get better, man, life would be pretty awful. because I'm not perfect. I'm far from it. And I've just got to be better every day. Got to be a better husband, got to be a better, father. And if I do those two things and I show up, to Randy's point, talking about action, told my son last week, I think 80% of life is just showing up. Show up and go full ass on what you got going on. Don't half-ass it. Go full ass. Things turn out pretty good. But like I said, you gotta be smart enough to know when you screwed up, apologize for what you did wrong, learn from it. Sun comes up the next day. Let's go.
Yeah.
Right
So
My
that's all I
greatest-
got. I'm gonna let you guys keep going, but I got to get to some
Enjoy
cheers.
the
I
game.
appreciate you
Enjoy
guys.
the game.
Eric, thanks
Yeah.
a lot, buddy.
Have fun, buddy.
Thank you,
All right,
Eric.
see you, fellas. Be good.
Okay.
You got it.
All right.
All right.
That was great. Great.
Yep.
Yeah, I was just going to make a comment there as well. As my greatest mentor is my wife. She's keeps on, the greatest obstacle we have for improvement is our ego.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. And if we can step out of that, and as Eric put it so well, just admit it, apologize for it if it's necessary, learn from it, and as a famous song, the sun will come out tomorrow, right? And it just will.
Right.
And Tom, Mark, you had brought up with your umpiring, people think they got to be so perfect on every single thing, and you're a Hall of Famer if you fail 70% of the time over your career in Major League Baseball, right? Because your job as a hitter is to what? Get on base.
Right.
And if you fail 70% of the time, you're probably going to be in Cooperstown.
Yeah.
So, how many of those guys, if they sucked in minor league ball, they didn't think they was ever going to get out of A into double A, gave up and went back and worked the family farm or the feed mill and said, screw it.
Right.
Wouldn't, or back to the city, back to the wherever, it wouldn't matter. They wouldn't be making the millions that they're doing and have the careers that they have. So, I think it's easy to get frustrated. Frustrated is one thing, but you can't let it cloud your, you can't let it cloud what your vision is. And when we talk about this a lot, but if you figure out what your why is, why am I doing this? And don't let anything else get in the way. It may be temporary, but it's all temporary. I mean, outside of death is kind of not, but I mean, or sometimes you've got.
That's a great point, Randy. Yeah, absolutely. And and Tom always talks about the why.
Yep.
And it's fun when you ask business owners, what's your why? And they go, what for question's that? No one's ever asked me that. What's your why for doing what you guys are doing right now? And are you open to change, or do you ever think about? Do you ever have these type meetings and they're like, no, we don't. Right. It's kind of outside looking outside in, and they just kind of, whoa, that's a different question.
It is, and what's interesting about that is I was talking to somebody about that today. Is being in the sales world, we all have our widgets, whatever that widget is, but
sure.
I don't sell widgets. I sell, and if this gets old, it gets said probably not enough, but you sell solutions, you sell relationships, because a widget's a widget. And I could go on and talk all day. I'm as good as anybody talking about my widget, but nobody wants to hear about my widget. What they want to hear about is what that is going to do for you, how that's going to improve your life, improve your profits, make life simpler for you, whatever the case may be. So if you can get past always going back to what's the widget and what's the reason I do this. And I got some good friends of mine in Tennessee. I'll give them a shout out. True Metal Supply, great guys up there, young guys running a great business. And they love to say, and I won't get it exactly as well as they say it probably, but we are a customer service solutions oriented company that just happens to make metal roofing. Right? It's a different mindset. We talked about one of the questions with mindset, but that's the mindset. It just happens to be that they make metal roofing today. But you know what? If 3 years from now, for whatever reason, they decided not to do metal roofing, whatever it is they do, they'll do very successful because they got the mindset that had nothing to do with, and not nothing to do with metal roofing. But the first key is take care of customers, find solutions, do what you say you'll do. If you do those things, it doesn't matter what your widget is. It really doesn't.
You're right.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Well, man, do you believe that we're getting at the top of the hour, 3 more minutes till 7 o'clock.
Look at that.
Yeah, I want to thank all those that have jumped on this afternoon and left comments.
Yeah, well, we can point out Tim Lord, Robert Booker, and there was another person here that I don't know if that was to me or
Lou
you.
Kowalski, Jim was on.
Yeah. If
Sure,
you scroll at the top further up, let me see.
I think somebody thought you was quite handsome, Mark. That was
Yeah, I think, yeah, and I was like, is this a joke? But they were in a military uniform, so you know, so
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Just want to thank everybody. Tag and share this out there. Hopefully that some point, some information can inspire you, make a difference, or change somebody else's life. That's what Elevate Your Profits is all about. So, yeah, boy, I tell you what, when we say an hour, sometimes it sounds like it's going to be, that's forever, but it sure flies when you have great guests like we had on tonight.
It's good times. I appreciate you having me on. Always great to talk to you guys.
No problem.
Keep bringing the fire, fellas.
All right.
I have to catch you at a trade show sometime when you're out and about, Randy. If you ever, I didn't know if you were going to do that in Atlanta. You know, when you and I met at MetalCon. And
Oh yeah.
Do your thing, but I know you had other things going on that day too. So
yeah, that was a busy one. But oh yeah, we'll catch up again soon, somewhere, somehow, buddy. You know it.
Because that's when I just let me know the next metal show that you're, or whatever trade show when you're coming through here. I'll gladly come see you.
Hey, we got one come up in 1st of April in Knoxville. That's not terrible far up the road
No.
for you.
So which one's that?
The National Frame Builders Association.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's one I'm near and dear to my heart because I'm on the board of directors for that. So
Oh, my
pretty
goodness.
active week, and we've got just an incredible show coming up in Knoxville.
Cool.
So
Well, the next time you come in the Milwaukee, Chicago area, let me know. We'll meet up. Okay, bud?
we'll do it. You got it. It's a deal.
Man.
Yeah.
The man is everywhere.
Chicago's about 2 hours from me, so
Yep.
not a big deal.
No, you got her.
But I also just want to put a plug out there, our little commercial, QUpfundraising.com. That's our sponsor. Any nonprofit out there that's looking to raise money, go to our website, find out more about what I'm doing, and I'd be glad to assist you raising a critical element of your needs for your nonprofit organization. That's raising money. So got a very unique platform, and or if you're looking to be part of the team, have a passion to help nonprofits, I'd love to talk with you as well.
Cool.
All right.
Well, Randy, thank you again, and as
My pleasure.
well, Eric. And I know we'll see you guys out there on the airways.
It's a deal. We'll be here. Not going away.
All right, bud.
All right.
God bless
Cheers.
you.
Bless you all.
Thanks, bud.
Cheers.